So the purpose of today's class is to teach skills of positively changing the contents of your mind, thereby altering your life attitudes and having a direct influence on how you affect other people around you. Also, increasing your sense of effectiveness in your success in life, what it is that you want, getting your heart's desire. Here's where the most powerful tool humans have must be learned and skillfully used. It's called the affirmation. An affirmation is a consciously chosen thought to precisely counter my limiting beliefs in a way that initiates a productive course of action. An affirmation just can't be something you take out of a book or hear from a motivational speaker. Now, sometimes you can get things out of a book or from a motivational speaker, but you have to do the translation so it fits your psyche. It fits your body. So let's look at handout 2, because we're going to roll up our sleeves and do some work here on your life and your thoughts. So if an affirmation is just a flowery, sentimental saying that leads to no significant change in my life, then it's worthless. To construct a genuine affirmation, we're going to use what I call the 4 Ps guideline. So a good affirmation is, first of all, it's positive. I'm choosing a thought now that is positive. The affirmation must direct me towards what I want, not avoiding of what I don't want. What are those things which seem to be stuck inside of us? Competing belief systems working one on the other. So, first of all, if I'm going to counter that, I need something that is positive and not something that is avoidant. So a good example is I'm attracting employment opportunities that I enjoy and pay me well, versus I'm not going to work on jobs that depress me. So the mind is connected to the emotional body. And like I said, like an animal, like a dog, it works on commands. I have to master my mind. My mind is just going to spontaneously come up with positive thinking. I have to choose it. So the first sentence has the embedded commands: I attract, I enjoy, and pay me. Okay? The second sentence has the commands: I'm not going to work and depress me. Second P is the affirmation has to be personal. So the affirmation must be about me and my life rather than general conditions. It must move me personally. So I'm giving guidelines here for affirmations, but this is not like a rule book. They're just general principles which tend to get the energy moving in the direction I want. So a good example is, I'm feeling more joy in my life every day, versus life should be lived joyfully. That's kind of like a generic, no, I'm feeling more joy in my life every day. Now my mind, remember, thoughts attract like thoughts. If I'm willing to think this thought, then it will start to attract other thoughts. I'll start to interpret and see other things in my life from a positive point of view. So affirmations can be also used in the second person, like you, Jim, feel more joy in your life each day. Or in the third person, Jim feels more joy in his life each day. But here, the first person affirmation, however, is usually the best place to start. Thirdly, have the affirmation be present. The affirmation generally touches me most effectively if it's stated in the present tense, not in the future or the past. We live in the present. The more we live in the future or the past, the less alive we are. So a good example, I'm working more productively as I encourage myself. A bad example is, I'll do better at work when I have a better attitude. If I had a better attitude, I'd be better off now. So the mind is always looking for loopholes. So will and when are in the future. So I don't have to do anything about change right now. Affirming negatively in the past reinforces it in the present. Example, I'm no longer depressed like I have been for the last 10 years. Saying that over and over again, I'm focusing on the negative, not on what I want. And then finally, the affirmation has to be practical. I mean, I got to believe it. Yes, it's going to stretch me. A well-chosen affirmation is going to stretch me just the right amount. It's like doing yoga. You don't want to overstretch and, oh, I hurt, or you don't want to have it be no challenge whatsoever. And then it's like, what's the point? So a good affirmation is going to stretch my mind. It's going to like open up my belief systems a little bit. So not overwhelm or underwhelm me. I'll know when it's right for me. A bad example would be, everyone thinks I'm the greatest. Yeah, my mind goes, yeah, right. It's not going to buy it. So it's not a good affirmation. So a good example depends on what's just right for me. I'm enjoying my relationships more and more. I'm bringing people into my life who appreciate me for who I am. So let's put these guidelines into action by taking the limiting beliefs you came up with last session and changing them into positive affirmations. So we're going to use these limiting beliefs from last session because, one, they are in our way and we need to redirect the energy in them. And number two, they have emotional energy which now can be used in our favor. So write down under A what your limiting belief was that you came up with in the last session, and then write an affirmation that goes right for it. Now, don't try to be too fancy schmancy about it. Sometimes just affirming exactly the opposite of what the limiting belief was does it for you.